According to reports, wild boars often leave the deep forest during the winter in search of food, leading to significant crop destruction. In fact, a study by the Food and Agriculture Organization found that boar activity increases by up to 30% during this season. That's why, despite the bitter cold, we continue our hunts regularly to help control their rising numbers. Our team began the ascent as planned. On sunny days like this, boars are more likely to come out and bask for warmth or forage for food. And for us, that's the golden opportunity. Each member swept the terrain from their assigned positions. From afar, we heard the unmistakable barking of our hounds. Boars were near. I raised my rifle, finger ready on the trigger. Bullseye, I had a kill. Taking down a boar in this remote mountain wilderness is a thrill that words can hardly describe. A boar burst out of the undergrowth. I fired instantly. The mountains are vast, the boars numerous, but we only had our determination and our rifles as weapons. We pressed on toward the summit. Suddenly, what was that? A whole herd of wild boars came charging down from the opposite ridge. I locked my sights on them and quickly pulled the trigger. But these animals are incredibly fast. Despite my efforts, I only managed to bring down one. A 2-day snowstorm had blanketed this place in deep white, forcing us to delay the hunt. But with today's weather clearing up, we returned to the mountain range. "Look there!" Henry shouted, spotting several boars below. We couldn't shoot just yet, had to find a better vantage point for a clean shot. Once I was in position, I steadied my breath and squeezed the trigger. The bullet flew like lightning, striking the boar dead on. Think it escaped? No chance. Take a look. This beast must weigh at least 150 kilograms. No doubt they had just passed through here. Sure enough, our dogs found them and started barking sharply. We tracked them slowly, waiting for Liam to get into position in case we missed our shot. Then the moment came. We signaled and opened fire. The startled boars bolted, but too late. They'd run straight into the guns of seasoned hunters.
What was that?
One more shot for a fleeing boar, just as sure for the damage they caused. Meanwhile, on another slope, a large herd of boars charged out, catching Mervyn completely by surprise. But this was the jackpot we'd been waiting for. Mervyn waited until they moved into a more favorable position. He fired but missed. He didn't give up and chased after them. Thankfully, our hounds had cornered one. It was now or never. This time, the boars had no escape. We were just packing up to leave when we suddenly stumbled upon yet another herd of wild boars. No hesitation, I quickly aimed and fired during that brief window. The shot rang out across the silent wilderness, marking our final success of the day's hunt.
Kaçmış lan? Ha?
Winter doesn't just bring skin-cutting cold. It's also the time when wild boars become more dangerous than ever. As food sources dry up and hunger takes over, they lose their fear and become reckless and aggressive. Fields, gardens, and even residential areas are no longer safe. And it's precisely in these moments that the people of this land must rise to act before it's too late. The hunting dogs were quickly released and began tracking the prey sent along the rugged mountainside. In the suffocating silence, the dogs' barking rang out like a cheer, signaling the start of the chase. Down there, a wild boar is fleeing. My teammate shouted outside. He fired several shots in quick succession, trying to bring the animal down. But the wild boar stubbornly pushed on. We immediately split up, speeding up to cut it off. Once the distance was right, a single shot rang out, sharp, cold, and decisive. After tense, breathless moments, victory was finally ours. Using the strategy of dividing the team to surround from all sides, we detected another large herd of wild boars. My friend immediately gave chase and, from behind, fired a surprise shot directly at the target. The bull staggered but still managed to scramble forward. We pressed on, firing a few more rounds before moving closer. Oh no, that was dangerous. The boar counterattacked, charging at Neil and knocking him down. A heart-stopping situation, reminding us that hunting is never safe game. It demands absolute focus and lightning-fast reflexes, because even the smallest mistake can cost your life. After more than 20 grueling minutes of trekking, I finally spotted a wild boar slowly making its way up the mountain. That was the moment I knew this was the one I had to take down. The shot broke the stillness of the mountain woods. The bullet struck its mark, and the wild boar collapsed instantly, ending an intense pursuit. As we returned to the vehicle, we suddenly spotted another herd of wild boars on the run. We quickly determined their direction and split up to block them off. As soon as the first one appeared, my teammate acted like lightning, firing a precise shot that took down the boar cleanly. On the frozen ground, only the lifeless body of the fallen wild boar remained. High up in the mountains, the snow thickened overnight, leaving clear footprints of the wild boars behind. Following the tracks, we gradually closed in on our prey. Oh, a herd of boars. They were marching up the peak. I locked onto the lead boar and opened fire. The bullet struck clean, knocking the boar down as it let out a final scream. The rest scrambled to escape amid a hail of bullets, but one unlucky boar couldn't outrun the hand of death. As we ascended the summit, we suddenly spotted a panicked male boar on the run. A distance of nearly 200 meters was no big challenge for me. I quickly adjusted my scope, took a deep breath, and steadied my heart rate. There was no time to hesitate. I pulled the trigger. The bullet hit its target, and the boar dropped in an instant. Another trophy added to this challenging hunting journey. Lately, wild boar sightings have been reported frequently in the nearby areas, making my family anxious. Our carefully cultivated crops are entering harvest season. If the boars come through, all our hard work could be wiped out in an instant. That's why my fellow locals and I quickly came together to organize a large-scale hunt to stop them in time. At the crack of dawn, we arrived at the foot of the mountain, rifles slung and our pack of hunting dogs in tow. Without wasting any time, everyone split up and got into position. Roughly 10 minutes in, a gunshot echoed. Clearly one of our men had taken a shot.
Çok iyi. Tamam.
A radio call confirmed it. A wild boar had just escaped. Using our phone's GPS, we tracked its direction. There it was. I raised my rifle, locked onto the boar. It kept charging toward me. Big mistake. One precise shot was all it took. The beast collapsed completely. Hearing the dogs barking furiously, we sprinted ahead to scan the area. From a fair distance, I adjusted my scope and squeezed the trigger. The boar dropped on the spot and lay there motionless. "15 quiet minutes passed. Then suddenly, the dogs barked wildly at the foot of the mountain. They must have picked up the scent. With the barking growing louder, my adrenaline surged. I locked onto the direction of the target. It was moving across from me. I adjusted my aim and fired. Boom! The shot hit. The boar went down and didn't get up again, falling where it stood. Fresh off our last success, we continued up the mountain slope. Suddenly, I spotted a familiar dark silhouette in the distance. The moment it saw us, the boar turned and bolted, but we weren't about to let it escape. A loud gunshot echoed, and the boar was immediately taken down. We had team members stationed at the base of the mountain too. They were closing in on a boar, trying to hide. Under intense pressure, the boar was forced out of hiding. The moment it appeared, my friend took a deep breath, raised his rifle, and locked on. The first shot wasn't enough to take it down, but he didn't hesitate, quickly pulling the trigger again. Finally, the boar dropped and lay still on the ground. We didn't have to wait long before spotting another target. Just 10 minutes later, a new boar showed itself. But we didn't shoot right away. Firing too soon could send it fleeing. Instead, we quietly crept in, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And there it was. My buddy squeezed the trigger. The bullet cut through the air, hitting the target dead center. It didn't even have time to react. Collapsed within seconds. My hunting dog suddenly started barking uncontrollably and darted forward. Thanks to him, one of our team members found another wild boar. After an intense chase with the dogs, the boar was completely drained, collapsed from exhaustion as the team closed in. From there, it was easy. A single decisive shot ended the hunt with a clean and satisfying victory. Wild boar meat has long been the key ingredient in Dobik Saint-Lieu, the renowned red wine stew from Provence and Corsica, France. To secure the freshest, most flavorful meat, there's nothing better than hunting it yourself in the wild. That's why we set off into the vast, untamed forest, where dramatic confrontations with wild boars awaited us. The forest morning was cloaked in a thin layer of mist. We moved deeper into the ancient woods, quietly spreading out to maintain visibility and provide support when needed. As soon as the dogs were released, they sprang into action, barking loudly the moment they picked up a scent. We rushed toward the sound of their agitated barks. There it was. Take the shot. A loud crack echoed through the forest. The boar was hit and dropped immediately onto the leaf-strewn ground. But before we could even celebrate, another group of wild boars came charging out. We kept firing, our rifles roaring through the trees. In less than 3 minutes, we had harvested more game than we ever imagined. Just as we caught our breath, a rustling sound came from the bushes ahead. "Wait, did you hear that?" I whispered, tightening my grip on the rifle. We froze, eyes locked on the dense foliage. Suddenly, another boar burst out. I raised my gun and squeezed the trigger. The bullet zipped through the air and struck it clean. The animal crumpled on the spot. Each step across the dead branches crunched beneath our feet, as if the forest itself was quietly watching us. Suddenly, a sound came from across the trail. "I see it," I whispered, signaling to the team. I dropped into position and carefully aimed for a vital shot. Bang! The gunfire shattered the silence. The boar jolted, then collapsed. Once again, calm nerves and sharp skills helped us win in the harsh wilderness. But I knew tougher trials still lay ahead. It was already past noon. We took a quick break before continuing the hunt. Out here, we could never afford to let our guard down. Thankfully, our pack of hunting dogs was always alert. The dogs picked up a scent and quickly flushed a boar from deep in the forest, pushing it toward our position. The boars had nowhere left to run. They were forced to surrender to the cold, powerful muzzle of the bullets. We no longer moved in large groups, but split up, each man in a lookout post. Then, out of the dense canopy, I locked my gaze on it, finger resting on the trigger. But out of nowhere, another herd of wild boars exploded from the bushes like a sudden storm. "Shoot!" Now, acted on instinct, firing immediately. After a quick burst of gunfire, one of the boars lay dead. As I returned to the rendezvous point, Chris was still engaged in a tense standoff with the boars that had just charged. Hunting wild boars for meat not only provides a natural source of protein, but also helps control their population and prevent damage to crops. That said, we always adhere strictly to conservation principles and local hunting laws. These are the rules we live by on every hunt. according to statistics, causing estimated damages of up to 80 million US dollars per year to agriculture, especially in farming and livestock. That's why the work of hunters like us has been encouraged and supported by local authorities as a necessary control measure. This isn't just an ordinary hunt. It's part of an ongoing battle to restore nature's balance and protect people's livelihoods. After finalizing our plan, we started heading to the designated hunting area. While we moved into position, the hunting dogs had already been released. They began sniffing around and tracking the prey. Oh! Within just a few minutes, the dogs had already locked onto the target. Suddenly, a massive wild boar charged at us. I pulled the trigger immediately, but one bullet wasn't enough to bring down this beast. It kept moving forward amid the ferocious barking of the dogs. Oh man, that was too dangerous. Just when we thought the boar had collapsed, it suddenly sprang back up. Thankfully, we were able to finish it off with another shot in time. The danger had passed, but our hearts were still pounding from an unexpected encounter. It wasn't just me. Other members of our team had also spotted an enticing target, a herd of wild boars climbing the mountainside. They wandered about aimlessly, completely unaware of the looming danger. Bang! A gunshot rang out, causing the lead boar to spin and collapse. Seizing the moment while the others stood still and alert, my buddy fired again, another one down. The rest scattered and ran for their lives, but a few weren't lucky enough to escape. From high above, the open terrain allowed me to observe the scene clearly. It didn't take us long to spot the boar hunter. What were we waiting for? Open fire now. Gunfire crackled through the remote mountain area as we unleashed a volley of shots. The boars immediately scattered in chaos. We couldn't take them all down at once, so we targeted the isolated ones. With no cover and no backup, several were taken out by our team.
Bak şu teke bak.
Bakayım.
Our trusty hunting dogs once again led us to another target. Their intense barking urged me to sprint forward toward the boar. As the dogs cornered it, I moved in a few more steps and raised my gun.
Atma, atma.
wild boar, instead of backing down, charged straight at me. But with steady nerves, I fired a shot directly into its body. That was quite a dangerous moment. If you don't have hunting experience, don't risk going solo like I did. From a fairly long distance, a fully grown boar entered our sights. However, with skills honed over time, taking it down wasn't too much of a challenge. Calmly aiming and slowly pulling the trigger, I landed the shot. Hit by the bullet, the boar lost its footing and tumbled down the mountainside. Tireless, we charged forward once more. It seemed to be getting closer. There it is. I didn't have time to think, fired off multiple rapid shots. The boar changed direction and kept running, but fortunately, our teammates managed to bring it down just in time.